My name is Christa. My dad's name was Luis Parra. He was hemophiliac and contracted HIV when he was in his early 20s. I was maybe about 4 years old, and he was in a car accident, and he received and they had tested him, and he found out that he had gotten HIV from his medication that he took for his hemophilia. And my dad told me he was HIV positive when I was 10 years old. And I remember being so scared because I thought, my dad's gonna die tomorrow. And the things that the news was putting on TV and the media, and the first time I heard hemophilia mentioned, I was about 7 years old, and the first time I heard it mentioned, it was on Donahue, and they were talking about the people that should be concerned, and it was the gays and intravenous drug users and promiscuous people, and hemophilia came up. And for as long as I could remember, I always knew what hemophilia was. So when I remember looking at my dad, and I said, "Does that mean that you're sick?" And he lied to me. And I believed him. So when he sat me down and he told me, I thought he was telling me that he was going to die tomorrow. And I went through therapy. And I told people that I don't have a dad, and I was afraid that they were going to tell me that he was something that he wasn't, and the things that people were saying, your dad's gay, your dad's this, your dad's that. So I kept it a secret, and he started involving me in the community, so I knew how to advocate for myself as a woman with a bleeding disorder, but also to educate me on HIV and AIDS and how it happened. And that's when I started meeting other people in the community younger than me, and we went to camp. The kids there were, HIV infected. And there was one little boy there. And they're innocent, And from one week to the next, we see them at camp and they're running around, and then we get phone calls from people saying that they passed away all of a sudden. I invited my dad to come and talk to my school because he was doing advocacy work about hemophilia also being a way that, there was another way to get HIV, and it wasn't through all the ways that they were saying, but also to help with the ignorance that was out there and passing it. And I loved my dad so much. I just wanted to show everybody how amazing he was, and they weren't ready to hear it, and people put me down, and they wanted to fight me for being different. I stood my ground. I didn't let them say anything about my dad that wasn't true. But it was so scary to see my peers, and at the level of that they were at, and the things that they couldn't understand. And moved away to get away from the people that remembered me that way, being the daughter of someone that was HIV infected. And it didn't matter that my dad didn't get it the way that everyone else perceived other people to get it, HIV. I mean, promiscuous sex, drug use. And I wanted to share with them that. So when I moved away and came back to the area that I lived in, someone bumped into me and was surprised that I was still alive. And aren't you the daughter of the guy that had AIDS? And you didn't get it? You're still alive? And to see people, even now, this happened, it's 2006, this happened recently, and the people still talk like that. I'm doing this in a booth at the national meeting for hemophilia in Florida. And my dad started bringing me to these meetings so that I could meet other people from different states doing the same thing that we were doing, being so open with the condition and HIV. My dad passed away when he was 34 years old. Today I'm 37, and I was terrified about life after 34 because I didn't get to see my dad live it. My dad didn't die of HIV. My dad died with HIV. My dad had a brain aneurysm, and hemophilia, it wasn't going to help. Being HIV positive wasn't going to help. And the fact that he was hepatitis C was like 3 strikes. And it wasn't the AIDS that killed him. It was the bleeding disorder. And I try to remind people of that. I miss him so much. And I come to these meetings because I hear him laughing. I hear him sometimes in the things that I say or in other people. And it was sad at a young age to be shown the ugliness of the world, because he explained to me exactly where the blood came from and the Arkansas prison scandal. And at a young age, and he taught me to question everything so early. Everything I do is in your memory. Thank you for loving me so much and giving it to me so that I could share it. People tell me that they hear you when I laugh. And that was the best part of you, was your laughter. Cheers.